Nobody likes a squeaky hinge in their house. It's really annoying. I'm going to show you the best trick for getting rid of that noise once and for all. There's lots of other things you can try. You can douse that hinge in WD-40, but that is never going to last. You do not have to take either the hinges off or the door to get this done. First, grab yourself either a paper plate or a napkin, hammer. Now you'll want to use the smallest one you've got. Gloves are helpful too. Next, you're going to need some type of a pin. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Here's just a basic screw. I've got a longer nail, and the most important stuff you're going to need is the right lubricant for the job. Now, personally, I love WD-40, but that stuff will not last when you're lubricating a hinge. This stuff called Super Lube is awesome. It's got a little bit of thickness to it. Now, if you don't have this stuff, you can use a thicker grease or something like that, but this tube is surprisingly cheap. So we've got to get the pin out of this hinge. Now, many people will tell you to just grab a flathead screwdriver and shove it right where I'm putting this nail. You got to kind of bang up the hinge. It's going to make it look like a mess, and if the screwdriver slips, you're going to hit all this wood on the side. Take your nail, you want to insert it into the bottom. You'll want to give it a slight tap. Now sometimes this can get tricky because you're trying to get your fingers in there and use your hammer at the same time. The problem is you can also mar up the wood. So another trick is to just take needle nose pliers, get a good grip on that nail. That's in there tight, really tight. Now just a gentle tap should get it all the way out. And if it is still stuck, you can also use your pliers to hold onto the top, and you're actually going to tap your pliers gently. And this is normal. When you pop this out, oftentimes the door will move just a little bit. Now that we've got our pin out, I can already start to see what the problem is. This pin is completely dry. If your pin is really rusted and pitted, you can also use some light sandpaper. You're not trying to sand it all away. You just want to make the surface fairly smooth. Next, we just need to apply some lubricant to the pin. You want to put quite a bit. I like to just rub it with my fingers on the glove. You want to get it right to the top, totally lubed up, and it's ready to go. We can put it right back in. Now you'll want to begin by getting the pin, of course, in the top, which will be easy, but you can see that the hinge moved a little bit. So oftentimes you've just got to open your door slightly and lift up just a little bit. As you do that, you'll see that your hinge gets aligned. Now oftentimes you can push it in by hand, but that may not be the case. But before you just hammer the crap out of it, you may want to just grab a little block of wood like this. It gives you a little bit of leverage. And now our top hinge is already totally squeak free, but we've got to go do the others because the middle is making some noise as well. Good coat of grease. Some people will put a Q-tip down into the hinge as well to kind of wipe it out. I don't usually do this. I've not generally found this to be a problem, but if you really want to go nuts, you certainly can. Much better to use the block, even at an angle a bit. Now the damage is here, but my door frame looks perfect. Point, I have a feeling we've already gotten rid of our squeak, but the job is not done until we do that bottom hinge. Don't leave that one because that will end up making noise too. This bottom hinge is always the worst one to get to because you don't have a lot of room. Oftentimes you can't get the hammer up enough to swing. So that's again where holding on to this nail will save you. And if you can't get enough of a hammer swing this way, use your hammer sideways. It's a little bit awkward, but it will work. There we go. Totally dry, that pin. That went in great. And now we've got all three hinges done. That's what we want to hear. Absolutely nothing. No more squeak. Go real slow. I won't have to touch this hinge again for at least 10 years, maybe longer. It just depends how much you use the door. Any other method other than lubing that pin completely is only going to last you maybe days, weeks. And if you think this is a lot of work, it really isn't. It takes me about 5 minutes per door. And if you can do doors in your house, may as well get all your stuff set up and just do them all. You can probably do every door in your house in less than an hour, and you'll never have to deal with squeaks again. What if your door only has the two hinges that I mentioned? I said you're going to need help, and in most cases, it's going to be the best way to get the job done. You're going to do the exact same thing that I showed you on the hinges, but this time you'll want to have the door open a little bit. When you're working on the top hinge, of course, the door is going to want to kind of tilt a bit. It's still going to be held on the opposite hinge, but with just two, you're going to need something to kind of brace it. I find it's best to have your helper just hold onto the handle just gently. They're just kind of stopping the door from getting too far away. The other thing you can do is if you want to try to do it alone and you've only got 2 hinges, you can take a book or something and you can place it under the door. So as you're doing the work and the door kind of wants to tilt because it doesn't have that top pin, it won't be able to go too far to the ground, and you'll be able to kind of push it back into place on your own. Now, when you fix things, there's not necessarily always one way to do it. Now, this one I know works because I've done it literally hundreds of times, but if you've got better ideas for fixing hinges or just thoughts on this video, be sure to comment below. And if you liked it, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos coming up.